You ever feel like you maybe missed out on a whole genre, like poetry? I'm thinking about Healing Verses by Tabitha Johnson.
What's really interesting about this collection is Johnson uses it to unpack some really heavy stuff.
Like what kind of stuff? Give me an example.
We're talking homelessness, heartbreak,
Wow.
even breaking free from family trauma that's been passed down for generations.
Okay, so not exactly light reading.
It's deep stuff, for
Right.
sure. But each poem is like a window into her own journey to find strength and keep her faith.
I can see how that would be powerful.
It's about overcoming challenges.
Right.
And Johnson doesn't shy away from how hard and painful that can be.
So where do we even start with a book like this?
Well, the first poem, Who Am I?, really sets the scene, I think. It's about Johnson getting her high school diploma
Oh, wow.
at age 50.
No way. Okay, that's impressive.
Right. Now, she could have just focused on that accomplishment.
I mean, that's a whole story right there.
It is. But she doesn't stop there. She uses it as a metaphor for something much bigger.
I'm intrigued.
She talks about always being a work in progress,
Mm.
shaped by what we go through, but also shaped by God's grace.
I see what you mean about digging deeper.
It's her willingness to be so open about still growing that makes it relatable, I think.
That vulnerability continues in poems like Believe. She's inviting us to face our own doubts alongside her.
Exactly. In Believe, it's about trusting God's plan even when life feels messy and unpredictable. She wrestles with doubt and faith.
Which I think a lot of people can relate to, whether they're religious or not.
It's that realness that makes her writing so impactful. She's not preaching. She's right there with us, figuring things out as she goes.
You can really feel that in her words.
And it's in those tough moments, those dark nights of the soul, when Johnson's faith really shines through.
Like how so?
In Peace Within, for example, she talks about the mystery of it all, yearning for that peace from above.
It's a very human thing to long for something bigger than ourselves, I think.
For sure. And what's interesting is she never forces her beliefs. It's more like she's exploring her own faith journey out loud, which gives us space to reflect on our own beliefs, too.
Makes you think.
She's not trying to convert anyone, just sharing her truth about finding peace and strength in her faith.
Right.
And that realness is what makes it powerful.
Okay, so we've got education, faith.
Yeah.
But what about love? Everyone's got a love story, right?
Oh, absolutely. And Johnson's is no exception. In Love, she talks about going through some really deep pain,
Oh, no.
heartbreak. But here's the thing, even when it's hard, she chooses to face the world with love.
There's that line from the poem, Choose Love, it wins. So simple, but so true.
It's that reminder that we always have a choice in how we respond, even after tough times.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Totally. It's not about pretending the pain isn't there.
Right.
It's about recognizing that holding on to anger only hurts us more in the end.
I can see that.
Johnson seems to argue that real strength comes from choosing love even when it's hard, even when we feel like life's been unfair.
That takes us to forgiveness then,
Hmm.
which is another big theme running through Healing Verses, right?
It's huge. And she explores it deeply in poems like Forgive and Walking in Blessed.
Yeah, I was just thinking about those.
And it's not just about forgiving other people.
It's about forgiving ourselves, too.
Exactly. In Walking in Blessed, there's that line, forgive others and yourself, that really gets to the heart of it.
It's about finding peace inside, as much as making things right with others.
And that's where the healing part of Healing Verses really comes in.
It's in those moments when we choose forgiveness and love that we start to break free from the things holding us back.
It's a process, for sure. Healing isn't something that happens overnight.
And it often means dealing with difficult things from the past.
Absolutely, like generational trauma.
Oh yeah, heavy stuff.
Breaking free from that can be a huge part of healing,
Mm.
which is where a poem like Break Chains comes in. Johnson paints this vivid picture in Break Chains. She writes, generational curses, a chain that needs breaking to heal inside pain.
Powerful imagery for sure. It's like we carry this invisible weight around with us.
Exactly. And sometimes we don't even realize how much it's holding us back until we start unpacking it.
And unpacking that baggage, confronting the past, that's where the real work begins.
That's where the real transformation happens. It takes courage to face those things, those patterns we've inherited.
Well, sure. It's not easy.
And Johnson's faith is really a source of strength for her here. She talks about breaking free, not just for ourselves, but for future generations, too.
So it becomes bigger than just our own individual healing.
Exactly. It's about ending those negative cycles, creating a legacy of healing for your family, your community.
That's powerful stuff.
Ah,
It's like she's saying we don't have to go through this alone.
exactly. We can lean on our faith on God to get us through.
It's interesting, though, even when she talks about faith, it's not blind acceptance.
Right.
She wrestles with it, questions it.
Totally. And I think that's why people relate to her writing, even if they're not religious. It's about that universal search for meaning.
That need to hold on to something when things get tough.
Exactly. Like she's saying, look, I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to keep searching, keep questioning, keep leaning into my faith.
And it's that journey that's seeking and questioning. That's where the real growth happens.
Absolutely. That's what Humble Yourself is all about.
Tell me more.
It's about surrendering to something bigger than ourselves.
Admitting we don't always have to have it all figured out.
Exactly. It's a paradox, but sometimes our strength comes from admitting we need help.
So much of this book is about those paradoxes,
It
right?
is. Like the idea that letting go can be the most powerful thing we do.
Which is a perfect segue into letting go of control.
Yeah.
I mean, haven't we all been there? Trying to force things to go our way.
It's human nature, right?
Totally. But Johnson makes this really interesting point in letting go.
What's that?
That clinging too tightly can actually stop us from experiencing all that life has to offer.
There's that line, sometimes you just gotta let go. So simple, but so hard to actually do.
It's that fear of the unknown, that need to control every little thing.
She gets it, though. She doesn't pretend it's easy.
And then she flips the script and suggests that real freedom comes from letting go,
Surrendering control.
trusting in something bigger than ourselves.
Whether that's God or the universe or just the natural flow of life.
And that's where faith comes in again, right?
Huge. Not just faith in a higher power, but faith in ourselves, too.
Believing we can handle whatever comes our way,
That we're stronger than we think we are.
and that even detours can lead to pretty incredible places.
Speaking of which, Johnson explores the beauty of unexpected connections in Family Reunion.
Oh yeah, that's such a beautiful poem about those who stick by us no matter what.
It's a good reminder that family isn't always about blood ties.
It's about who shows up for you.
Who loves you through thick and thin.
Johnson really captures the joy of those connections.
The laughter, the memories, that deep love that ties people together.
She doesn't shy away from the fact that families can be messy, though.
Oh, for sure. There are going to be disagreements, hurt feelings, times when relationships are tested.
But she argues that going through those challenges can actually make families stronger,
It's about choosing forgiveness, choosing to understand,
choosing compassion.
even when it's hard.
Because at the end of the day, those imperfections are part of what makes each family unique,
It's a good reminder to cherish those connections.
to never take them for granted.
Absolutely. And speaking of cherished connections, love is a powerful exploration of how transformative love can be.
It's not always easy, though, is it? Love takes work.
It does. It takes patience and understanding, a willingness to be vulnerable.
And it's not a one-way street.
Right. It's not just about what we receive from others.
It's about cultivating love within ourselves, too.
Choosing to approach the world with an open heart, even after we've been hurt.
And believing that the more love we give out, the more we'll get back in return.
Exactly. And sometimes loving ourselves means embracing our individuality.
Which is what Johnson encourages in Freedom to Be Me. That poem is like an anthem for anyone who's ever felt pressure to fit in.
It's about owning your uniqueness, seeing it as a gift, not a flaw.
I love that line where she says, releasing every negative label and making a promise to myself to free my mind.
So good. It's like a call to action. Stop listening to those voices telling you who you should be.
And start living life on your own terms.
Define success for yourself.
Don't let anyone else tell you what your life should look like.
Because you have something unique to offer the world.
Your voice,
Yeah.
your perspective, those things matter.
And sometimes finding your voice means facing your fears.
Stepping outside that comfort zone.
Exactly. Which brings us to life is a roller coaster ride. That metaphor is so spot on.
Isn't it? Life is full of ups and downs.
Twists and turns, moments when you feel like you're barely holding on.
But Johnson's point is that we have to embrace the ride.
The good and the bad.
Because even the terrifying drops eventually lead to that feeling of exhilaration.
It's about trusting that we can handle whatever comes our way.
And that even if we fall down, we can always get back up and keep going.
And that sometimes the best thing we can do is surrender control.
Let go of the need to have everything figured out.
Which Johnson talks about in Walking in Blessed. It's about choosing to focus on the good, even when things are tough.
Cultivating gratitude. Appreciating what we have instead of dwelling on what we don't.
Because when we focus on the positive things, we open ourselves up to more positive experiences.
It's about choosing to see the world through a lens of abundance, not scarcity.
recognizing that even in the midst of challenges, there's always beauty and joy to be found.
That's such a powerful message, and it really speaks to the transformative power of gratitude.
When we approach life with a grateful heart, it changes everything.
We start to see challenges as opportunities for growth.
And that's something Johnson emphasizes throughout the collection.
This idea that even the most difficult experiences can teach us something valuable,
It's about trusting the journey with all its detours and surprises.
knowing that we'll come out stronger on the other side.
And that ultimately our ability to overcome those challenges is a testament to the human spirit.
It's not just about us, though, is it? Johnson seems to be saying that healing can spread. When we open up about our stories, when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, it gives other people permission to do the same.
It's like this ripple effect. The more we embrace our own healing, the more we inspire others to do the same.
I love that ripple effect. It
Yeah.
makes me think of that quote. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same.
Yes, that's exactly what Johnson's poetry does.
It's interesting you mentioned light because there's this theme of achievement that runs through the whole collection. And I'm not just talking about like the big obvious milestones.
Right.
Like in that first poem, Who Am I? Getting her diploma at 50, that's huge.
Yeah.
But she turns it into something so much more.
She could have just left it at, look what I achieved, but she goes deeper. It's like she's redefining what success even means.
Exactly. It's about pushing past those expectations, proving it's never too late to learn and grow.
And that idea of defying expectations, it comes up again and again, like in Freedom to Be Me, where she talks about letting go of those labels and just being herself.
And in Press On, that last poem where she's like, keep going even when it's hard. It's inspiring.
It really is, because it reminds us that there's no one right way to be successful.
It's about embracing the journey, the detours, the unexpected turns, and trusting that you'll get where you need to be.
Even if it's not where you thought you'd end up.
Okay, so as we wrap up Healing Verses, what's the biggest takeaway for you? What stays with you?
You know, for me, it's that Johnson reminds us that hope is something we do. It's not just a feeling. It's a choice we make every day.
Even when life gets hard, we have to choose hope.
Exactly. It's about finding that strength within ourselves and knowing we're not alone in this.
And that even in the darkest times, there's always something to be grateful for.
Always a reason to keep going.
Right.
And that's what makes Healing Verses so powerful, I think. It's a reminder that we're all connected.
That we all have our own stories of struggle and resilience.
And by sharing those stories, by lifting each other up, we make healing and hope possible. Not just for ourselves, but for everyone.
That's beautifully said. It's like Johnson's poetry shines a light on those moments of grace, those glimmers of hope that remind us that even when things are tough, life is still beautiful.
And that we're capable of incredible things.
That's the beauty of her work for me. She doesn't shy away from the hard stuff, but she always brings us back to the light.
Healing Verses. It's a testament to the strength of the human spirit. A collection that will stay with you long after you finish reading it. It offers comfort and inspiration and a renewed sense of hope for the future.
I couldn't agree more. This deep dive into Healing Verses has been truly transformative. If you're looking for a book of poetry that will move you, challenge you, and leave you feeling hopeful, this is it. Until next time, keep diving deep and keep the faith.
In the darkest moments, when life feels overwhelming, we all need a reminder of the strength within. Introducing Healing Verses, Poems of Triumph and Transformation by Tabitha Johnson. This isn't just poetry, it's a powerful journey of resilience, faith, and unstoppable hope. Every verse, born from personal trials and ultimate victories, is a lifeline for those facing life's toughest challenges. Discover stories of triumph as Tabitha Johnson shares her journey, overcoming homelessness, heartbreak, and breaking generational curses. With faith as her shield and a pen as her sword, she proves that healing is not just possible, it's unstoppable. Find peace, grace, and strength in these powerful verses that will lift you up and keep you moving forward. Don't wait. Let Healing Verses be your guide on the road to wholeness and victory. No matter how dark it seems, dawn is just around the corner. Start your transformation today with Healing Verses, Poems of Triumph and Transformation by Tabitha Johnson. Available now on Amazon.